Is IShowSpeed not returning back to the US? We will explore that in this video.
IShowSpeed is not coming back to United States. My boy is out there in Ghana getting massages from 8 different women. I'm talking about living his life as a young boy. And you gotta love it. I'm glad that these little young black brothers finding a way and making a way for everybody else. And they doing it just off of showing your lifestyle. Salute.
And healers for the body.
I'm getting healed. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm getting healed.
Korea, Korea, Jane, Jane. Korea, 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 Jane, Jane. Korea, 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 Jane, Jane. Korea, 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 Jane.
Now let's keep it real, y'all. After me watching this and editing it, this kind of look like a little chant, doing some little voodoo ranger, some witchy witchy, some gimme gimme. I don't know, you get it though, right? We just be thinking so crazy because we over here. Why somebody say his eyes look like a lizard when he looked up? Let him live his life, y'all. Nigga jumping out of helicopter, pulling cars, racing people. Let him get a massage. Real, if you was lit like this, are you coming back to the United States?
He enjoyed his time in Africa, of course, but he lived in the US. He adapted his lifestyle in the US. Visiting and living in a place are very different things. So he enjoyed his time, but he's returning. He's definitely returning. There is no one that said, there is no credible person who said he's not returning. That's what we heard. Some people are using some kind of older clips of IShowSpeed despising the US to say that he's not returning.
United States is the only country that's behind. United States, that's one thing I hate about living in the USA. We're behind in time, bro. Like everybody who I be talking to, they ahead of time.
Still, he didn't say, I'm not returning. Also, there was once a time that IShowSpeed argued with his father whether they are African or they are just American. Look at this.
I am African.
No, you're not. You're an
It's
American.
like, yo,
You're an American.
but we from Africa.
Who from Africa? I've never been to Africa.
But you're African. Your descendants is African, Dad.
But
You know, so look,
you know how far of a descent that is, though? That's
1900s.
we talking.
That's not that far.
We weren't African in the 1900s.
I mean 1800s.
Yeah,
It's still
18
African
that's
descent. It's still African descent.
Right, but look,
Just because you
know
wasn't
how
born in
far-
Africa, you're still an African descent.
All right, but my mom's father's Jamaican. Nana's dad's Jamaican.
That's still Africa.
No,
That's still Africa.
no, it's not. Jamaica
Yes, it
and
is.
Africa is not the same.
Africans came to Jamaica, to the Caribbeans. Yes. Jamaica is basically Africa. It's just
No, it's not.
yes, it is.
They don't even speak the same dialect.
I know. I'm talking about the race. Actually,
Come on, man.
bro, I'm talking. I'm not. Obviously, I'm not. Yes, it's different culture and different language. I'm talking about the actual skin, the race. At the end of the day, we're all African.
But
Yes, there's no but.
no,
There's no
no,
but. At
no.
the end of the day, we're all African. So, Dad, you think you don't got no African blood in you? Think you just pure American, bro?
bro, yes, man.
Yo, what? What?
Yes.
What?
No, dude, no,
You don't-
man.
Yo.
No.
Yo, he's slow. Dad's slow, bro.
Oh, we don't, man. We've been here. We've been in America our whole life.
Jamal doesn't care. He's just standing there and saying nothing. Anyways, their ancestry is from Africa, but they themselves and their maybe close ancestors are not from Africa. So it's a bit complicated, someone can identify as African or not African, just American or Black American, whatever they want, I believe. It's not up to one argument.
People's reaction to the Speed Does Africa tour is a beautiful and disturbing representation of how the U.S. education system fails people when it comes in terms of geography, and it fuels white supremacy. And this might seem like a huge stretch, which it kind of is, but it's true. Unfortunately, it's very disturbing. Back in 1908, actually, there was a meeting conducted by white men in Baltimore who were basically going to decide what the geographic education in the United States is going to look like, and they had concluded that it was going to focus on Western Europe and the United States. And this was going to take on a very Eurocentric view of geography. And over the years, social studies gradually started to, like, it blurred the lines between social studies and geography was no longer like the focus point, and social studies ended up ultimately replacing geography. And I think everyone knows the stereotype that Americans are bad at geography, which honestly, if the shoe fits at this point, because the Nation's Report Card did a assessment back in 2014 where it tested 8th graders across the country on their geographic proficiency. And in order to reach geographic proficiency, you had to have a score of 282 or higher. And unfortunately, the average score was a 261, which means almost 3/4 of the 8th graders who took this test did not meet geographic proficiency. But now, why is this so bad, and why do I say this fuels white supremacy? Well, actually, if you look at an article written by someone in the UN, it mentions, this was in 2025, it mentions how racism requires ignorance. Ignorance is necessary for racism, and Americans are very ignorant, specifically whenever it comes to Africa. Yeah, there's a lot of other countries that needs to be focused on, but I'm specifically talking about Africa. And Africa is a continent. I hope we're all aware of that. But yeah, whenever I went on Twitter, I hate Twitter, but it's a good place to see reactions from people. They're raw reactions. And whenever I went on Twitter, I went to the post that IShowSpeed had made announcing his tour in Africa. I was kind of sad because he used AI, but that's beside the point. The comments, most of them were good because most of them weren't from Americans. It was people in Africa saying, come to Ghana, come to the Gambia, come to South Africa, whatever. Really nice comments. And then there were a handful of a cesspool of misinformation coming from, unfortunately, mostly American and Western European accounts saying things along the lines of, be careful if you get bit by a mosquito, Ebola, do they have water down there? Don't get kidnapped by an African tribe. I really don't think this is a good idea. Are you sure that you're going to be safe down there? Now, a lot of people love to spread a lot of information about Africa, and a lot of people use the information on African countries to basically justify their racism because they say, oh, I just think that black people as a whole are subhuman because they come from these countries that are stupid. And technically, the IQ in Africa is not great. But why do you think that is, genius? Why do you think that is? And the term colonialism gets tossed around a lot, but unfortunately, a lot of things are because of colonialism, are because people like me went and grabbed their resources, sucked all the life out of those nations, took people from those nations, brought them over, made them do labor, literally just abuse and terrorize these places, and then use the fact that these nations had a hard time to develop because of our terrorization and use that to justify their bigotry towards them. And I think that the best way that specifically for white people that we can say like, oh, we need to make a change and we need to focus on things in our community that we're doing wrong and that we need to improve on is by acknowledging that unfortunately, yeah, we did cause a lot of these issues, and yet we need to be more educated on places like Africa, and yet we need to accept it is okay to be wrong. It is okay to be ignorant as long as you can work on it. You know, like there are some things that I thought previously that were just absolute BS. And the best way I could combat that is being like, okay, I'm wrong, I'm being an idiot, and I'm going to acknowledge that, and I'm going to move forward and try to do better. And I think that it is such a shame that specifically for white people, we are so against admitting that we have white privilege, that we have done horrible things because, oh, I'm not my ancestors. Okay, but you're kind of like repeating the same sorts of traits that they did with your bigotry. But anyway, that's all I have to say because I think it's very disturbing. And if you want to look into anything that I mentioned, this is from a document. Most of the things I grabbed, you can look at the Nation's Report Card, you can look at the UN whenever it talks about ignorance fueling racism. And then also Lane Guard, he is a professor that retired in 2015 and has been advocating for geography to be taught in schools more. So if you want to look into any of those things, you can just either DM me, I'll send you some links, or you can look up those keywords that I just mentioned. Anyway, have a good day, and please admit that you're ignorant, specifically for my white people, and please try to work on that. It's not a shameful thing to be unless, you know, if you work on it. Anyway, have a good day.
Yeah, the way IShowSpeed turned the mind of many people is extremely good. You know, there was a lot of ignorance. I hope those ignorances go away, especially about Africa and other parts of the world. Like geography is not taught very well, I believe. So it shall be taught very well. And ignorance shall perish, and wisdom shall flourish. Yeah, that's my message for today. Anyways, that's it for now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Write down your comments. Till next time, peace and blessings. Goodbye.